8 things never do as a millionaire. I know 2 people worth $3 million. First one drives a Tesla, wears a Rolex, lives in a showcase home everyone envies. He's stressed, working 70-hour weeks, one bad break from losing everything. The second one drives a 10-year-old Honda, wears a $50 watch, and lives in a modest house nobody notices. He sleeps perfectly, hasn't worked full-time in 3 years, and wealth is growing automatically. What's the difference? Everything you think millionaires do is completely backwards. They don't show off wealth, they hide it. They don't work harder, they work smarter. They don't avoid debt, they use it strategically. Fake millionaires pretend to be wealthy for strangers. Real millionaires build systems for freedom. Today, I'm revealing 8 things real millionaires never do, and why avoiding these mistakes separates people who look rich from people who actually are rich. If you want to build real wealth instead of performing fake wealth, smash subscribe and comment "Real Millionaire" right now. Stick to the end, because thing 8 is what separates highly paid employees from people who are actually free. Here's the first thing millionaires never do, and it's the mindset foundation for everything else. Number 1. Why do real millionaires drive old cars? Here's the first thing real millionaires never do, and it's the mindset that separates everything else. Most people view money as a status symbol. They buy expensive cars to look successful, live in showcase homes to impress neighbors they don't even like, wear designer everything to signal "I've made it" to strangers who don't care. They spend money proving they're wealthy instead of actually becoming wealthy. Every dollar goes toward the performance, not the portfolio. Real millionaires, they view money completely differently. They don't buy status, they buy freedom, time, and opportunities. They live below their actual financial capacity. Let their wealth grow silently in investments while driving ordinary cars and wearing normal clothes. They genuinely do not care what strangers think about their lifestyle. Warren Buffett, worth over $100 billion, still lives in the house he bought in 1958 for $31,500, drives normal cars, eats at McDonald's. Why? Because he understands something most people don't. Every dollar spent on status is a dollar that can't compound into freedom. Proverbs warned about this thousands of years ago. Pride goes before destruction. Status seeking literally destroys wealth-building capacity. Here's a story that makes this painfully clear. I knew 2 neighbors. The first guy drove a Mercedes, lived in a beautiful showcase home, wore a Rolex, and looked incredibly successful. Everyone admired him. 3 years later, he declared bankruptcy. Turns out everything was financed. The performance was bankrupting him. The second neighbor drove a 15-year-old Camry, lived in a modest house, and dressed like he shopped at Target. Nobody thought twice about him. Turns out he was worth $4 million in index funds and rental properties. The first neighbor performed well for 3 years, then lost everything. The second neighbor built wealth for 20 years while looking completely ordinary. Here's the brutal math. Calculate what you spend yearly on status items, car payments, on vehicles beyond basic transportation, showcase home costs beyond comfortable living, designer items beyond normal quality. Now invest that difference for 20 years at a 10% annual return. You'll see exactly how much looking impressive is costing your actual freedom. Real millionaires ask themselves, do I want to look rich to strangers, or do I want to be free? They choose freedom every single time. Status is the expensive rental of other people's admiration. Freedom is ownership of your own life. Don't chase status, chase freedom. Status makes you a slave to appearances. Freedom makes you untouchable. I'd rather be free and look ordinary than be trapped looking impressive to people whose opinions don't pay my bills. Once you stop performing wealth for strangers who don't care, you can focus on what actually creates wealth. And it's not the number on your paycheck. Number 2. Why do high earners stay broke? Here's where most high earners completely miss the point, and it keeps them broke despite impressive salaries. Most people obsess over income. I make $200,000 a year. They measure success entirely by salary, chase raises and promotions, feel successful because their income is high. But their bank account tells a different story. They're broke. Why? Because they're tracking the wrong scoreboard. Income is not wealth. What you earn means nothing if you spend it all and build nothing. Real millionaires ask a different question. Not what's my salary, but what's my net worth? They track assets minus liabilities religiously. Every financial decision gets measured by one metric. Does this increase or decrease my net worth? Income is just a tool to build net worth. The goal is net worth growth, not salary growth. Here's what most people don't understand. You can make $200,000 and be broke. You can make $80,000 and be building serious wealth. The difference isn't income, it's what you do with it. A doctor making $300,000 who spends $300,000 has the exact same net worth as someone unemployed. Zero. Actually worse, the doctor probably has student loans, so negative net worth despite the impressive title. Proverbs understood this centuries ago. The borrower is slave to the lender. High income with high debt equals slavery with a fancy job title. Jewish wisdom teaches to accumulate assets, not income statements. You can't retire on income, you retire on net worth. The scoreboard everyone's ignoring is the only one that actually matters. Here's a story that exposes this perfectly. Two friends graduated together. First became a lawyer, earned $150,000 annually, spent $150,000 on lifestyle to live like a successful lawyer should. 20 years later, net worth, still basically zero. Second became a teacher, earned $75,000 annually, spent $45,000, and invested $30,000 every year. 20 years later, net worth $1.2 million. The high earner spent 2 decades performing successfully. The lower earner spent 2 decades building it. Same starting point. One played the salary game, one played the net worth game. Guess who actually won? Calculate your current net worth right now. Assets minus liabilities. That's your real score. Not your salary, not your job title, your net worth. Now set goals around that number, not your income. Every spending decision from now on, does this increase my net worth or decrease it? High income with zero net worth is an impressive job title with zero freedom. Low income with growing net worth is quite wealth building toward complete independence. Play the right game, track the right score. And once you're focused on the right scoreboard, net worth instead of income, this next habit determines whether you're adding to that scoreboard or sabotaging it every single morning before you even get dressed. Number 3. What do millionaires do first thing every morning? Here's the habit that separates producers from consumers, and it determines everything that happens in your day. Most people wake up and immediately start consuming. Grab the phone before their eyes are fully open. Scroll social media, check the news, watch videos, and read other people's content. First 2 hours of their day, when their brain is freshest and most focused, spent consuming what other people created. They start in reactive mode and stay there all day. End of the day, consumed hours of content, produced nothing of value. Rinse and repeat for years. Wonder why they're not building wealth. Real millionaires have one non-negotiable rule. Create first, consume later. Their first hours are sacred production time. They work on their business, write content, strategize investments, build something valuable before consuming anything. Morning equals offense. Evening equals defense. Production before distraction. Every single day. No exceptions. Benjamin Franklin said, "Early to bed, early to rise," because he understood productive hours matter most. Every successful creator you admire, they create before they consume. They build while you scroll. Proverbs teaches, the hand of the diligent will rule. Producers lead, consumers follow. Here's a story that shows the compound effect. 2 entrepreneurs, same industry, same hours worked daily. First guy woke up, checked Twitter, read the news, scrolled Instagram, and responded to emails. Started actual productive work around 11 a.m. Second guy, no phone until noon. Created for 3 solid hours first thing. Worked on product, wrote content, strategized growth. Consumed later as a reward. 1 year later, the first guy made small incremental progress. The second guy launched a product generating $400,000 annually. Same total hours worked. Completely different priorities. One spent peak hours consuming, one spent peak hours creating. Creation compounds. Consumption evaporates. Here's the brutal math. 2 hours of daily creation equals 730 hours annually. That's enough to build an entire business, write a book, create a course, and develop a skill that 10x's your income. 2 hours of daily consumption equals 730 hours of scrolling that produces exactly zero wealth, zero progress, zero growth. You're choosing which 730 hours you want. Choose carefully. Tomorrow morning, try this. Create for 2 hours before consuming anything. No social media, no news, no email. Work on something that builds wealth, your business, content, investments, or learning valuable skills. Produce before you consume. Make it non-negotiable. Create first, consume later. Production before distraction. I'm a producer who occasionally consumes for entertainment, not a consumer who occasionally produces. That mindset shift alone determines whether you build wealth or watch others build it. Creating every morning builds wealth in isolation, but there's one conversation most people actively avoid that accelerates wealth faster than almost anything. And millionaires have these conversations constantly. Number 4. Why are millionaires always talking about money? Here's the thing that separates people who learn and grow from people who stay stuck in the same financial thinking forever. Most people avoid talking about money like it's contagious. It's rude. It's bragging. We don't discuss finances. Money is the ultimate taboo topic. They'll discuss politics, religion, relationships, everything except the one topic that could actually improve their lives. Never ask how much someone makes, how they invested, or what strategies work. They miss every single learning opportunity. Stay stuck in the same financial patterns for decades because they never have conversations that challenge their thinking. Real millionaires talk about money openly with other successful people. Not to brag, to learn, strategize, and find opportunities. How did you structure that deal? What's working in your portfolio? Where are you seeing opportunities? They view money conversations as education. Each discussion is a potential insight worth thousands of dollars. They're not being rude, they're being strategic. Proverbs nailed this centuries ago. Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed. Jewish tradition includes discussing business openly in study groups. Historical coffee houses were where merchants shared trade information that made fortunes. Silence keeps you stuck. Transparency accelerates growth. Here's a story that shows how one conversation changes everything. A woman avoided money conversations her entire life, thought it was tacky, inappropriate. Her friend openly discussed investments at dinner parties. Most people were uncomfortable. One night, the friend explained index fund investing, compound interest, and tax advantages. The woman had never heard this clearly explained. That single dinner conversation changed her entire approach. She started investing immediately. 10 years later, that awkward dinner conversation was worth over $200,000 in her portfolio. If she'd avoided it like she wanted to, she'd have exactly zero invested. One conversation, 6 figures in results. Here's what's crazy. The people who most need money conversations avoid them most. The people who least need them have them constantly. The broke stay silent. The wealthy talk openly. And the gap widens every year because one group learns and the other stays ignorant by choice. This week, have one open money conversation. Ask a successful person, what's working in your investments right now? Share your strategy. Get feedback. Join a group where money is discussed openly without judgment. Make money conversations normal instead of taboo. Talking about money isn't bragging. It's learning. Every conversation is an education that could be worth thousands. Silence keeps me broke. Transparency makes me wealthy. I'd rather be rude and rich than polite and poor. Talking about money openly teaches you strategies. And one of the most misunderstood strategies is something the government literally gives you a roadmap for. But most people think it's their enemy. Number 5. How do millionaires pay less in taxes legally? Here's where most people completely miss what's hiding in plain sight. and it costs them tens of thousands annually. Most people treat taxes like a punishment for earning money. They complain endlessly, pay whatever they're told, think the tax code is their enemy. Change nothing. Miss every legal strategy to reduce their burden. Leave massive amounts of money on the table every single year because they view taxes as an unavoidable evil instead of a navigable game with clear rules. Real millionaires view the tax code completely differently. It's not punishment. It's a roadmap. The government is literally telling you, do these specific things and we'll let you keep more of your money. Business ownership, tax advantages. Real estate investment, major deductions. Retirement accounts, tax-deferred growth. Charitable giving, write it off. The code isn't hiding anything. It's screaming instructions that most people ignore. Warren Buffett famously pays a lower effective tax rate than his secretary, completely legally, because he understands capital gains rules. The tax code incentivizes investing over working. That's not Buffett cheating. That's Buffett reading the instructions everyone else ignores. Proverbs says, "The wise understand the times and know what to do." Tax code is literally the times. Understand it or pay unnecessarily. Here's a story that shows how expensive ignorance is. Two people earn $150,000 annually. First person, W-2 employee, takes standard deduction, pays whatever. Effective tax rate 35%, pays $52,500 in taxes, complains constantly, does nothing. Second person, same income but started a side business, learned about deductions, home office, equipment, travel, education, maxed retirement accounts, and understood rules. Effective tax rate 18%, pays $27,000 in taxes. Both earned identical income. One paid $52,500. One paid $27,000. Difference, $25,500 annually. Over 20 years, that's $510,000 left on the table. $500,000 because one person complained and the other learned. Here's what kills me. The instructions are public. Tax code isn't a secret. CPAs exist to help you. The roadmap is free, but most people would rather complain than read the map. This month, read a basic tax strategy guide. Understand business expense deductions, retirement account benefits, and real estate advantages. If you have any business or investments, hire a CPA. Ask them one question: what is the tax code incentivizing me to do? Then do those things. Legally, strategically. Taxes are not a bill you're stuck with. They're a roadmap showing you exactly how to keep more of what you earn. The code literally says, own a business, pay less. Invest in real estate, pay less. Save for retirement, pay less. I'm not cheating by reading those instructions. I'm just not being stupid by ignoring them. Understanding taxes is strategic, and so is this next thing that most people avoid completely because someone on TV told them all debt is evil. Number 6. What millionaires know about leverage. Here's the thing that separates sophisticated wealth builders from people who stay small their entire lives playing it safe. Most people believe all debt is evil. They've been trained by Dave Ramsey and credit card horror stories. Never borrow for anything. Pay cash for everything. Debt is the enemy. And you know what? They're completely right about one type of debt and completely wrong about another. Their inability to distinguish between the two keeps them small forever. Real millionaires understand there are two completely different types of debt. Bad debt finances consumption, cars that depreciate, vacations that evaporate, lifestyle upgrades that lose value immediately. That debt absolutely makes you poor. Good debt finances assets that produce income and appreciate, rental properties generating cash flow, business expansions that multiply revenue, and education that increases earning power. That debt makes you rich. Poor people use debt to look wealthy. Rich people use debt to become wealthy. Robert Kiyosaki built his entire teaching on this distinction. Good debt makes you rich, bad debt makes you poor. Historically, wealthy people have always used strategic debt to acquire income-producing assets. Jewish merchants borrowed money to buy inventory they'd sell at a profit. The key isn't avoiding all debt. It's understanding which debt builds and which debt destroys. Here's a story that shows the leverage multiplier. Two people with $50,000 cash. First person, debt is bad. Bought one rental property with cash. The property generates 8% annual return, makes $4,000 yearly, feels safe and smart. Second person used $50,000 as a 20% down payment on 5 rental properties, borrowed the rest at 5% interest. All 5 properties generate 8% return, makes $20,000 yearly, 8% on 5 properties. 10 years later, the first person owns one property worth $80,000. The second person owns 5 properties worth $400,000. Same starting capital. One avoided debt and stayed small. One used leverage and multiplied wealth. Leverage made a $320,000 difference. Here's the test for any debt. Ask yourself, will this make me money? If you're borrowing to finance consumption, a new car, a vacation, a designer lifestyle, it's bad debt. Run. If you're borrowing to finance an asset that will generate income exceeding the debt cost, rental property, business expansion, education that doubles your income, it might be smart leverage. Do the math carefully. Good debt is leverage that multiplies your returns. Bad debt is a trap that multiplies your stress. The tool is neutral. Your use of it determines everything. Poor people finance consumption. Rich people finance assets. Same debt, different application, different outcome. Using good debt strategically is one form of leverage, but there's another type of leverage millionaires never ignore, and it's about never putting all your eggs in one very breakable basket. Number 7. How many income streams do millionaires have? Here's the thing that separates people who survive economic storms from people who get completely destroyed by them. Most people have exactly one income source, their job. That's it. Their entire financial security sits in one employer's hands. If that job ends, layoff, company closure, health issue, economic collapse, their income stops completely. Zero backup, zero diversification. One point of failure for their entire life. They're financially vulnerable every single day and don't even realize it until it's too late. Real millionaires never rely on one income stream. They build 3 to 5 minimum. Primary income plus investment dividends plus side business plus rental properties plus royalties or consulting. If one stream dries up completely, the others keep flowing. Research proves this. 65% of self-made millionaires have at least 3 income sources. 45% have 4, and 30% have 5 or more. That's not a coincidence. That's strategy. Multiple streams equal financial security and exponential growth. Proverbs understood this principle. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. Jewish merchants always maintained multiple trade routes. They never relied on a single source because one disruption couldn't destroy them. The 2008 financial crisis proved this brutally. People with only job income, devastated when laid off. People with diversified streams survived easily because other income continued. Here's a story from 2020 that shows this perfectly. 2 people during the pandemic. Person A, $100,000 job, 0 other income sources. Got laid off in March, financial disaster, couldn't pay bills, panic mode. Person B, $60,000 job, plus $20,000 rental income, plus $10,000 side business, plus $10,000 dividend income. Lost the job, but still had $40,000 from other streams continuing. One person's life collapsed, the other barely noticed. Diversification saved them. Here's what's crazy. Building additional income streams isn't even that hard. It just requires starting. Rental property generates income whether you work or not. Dividend stocks pay quarterly automatically. Side business runs evenings and weekends. Digital products sell while you sleep. But most people never start because one job is enough. Until it isn't. Then it's too late. List your current income sources right now. If it's just one, you're completely vulnerable. Pick one additional stream to build. Rental property, dividend portfolio, side business, digital product, or consulting. Start small. You don't need to replace your job immediately. Build it over 2 to 3 years until it's meaningful. Then add another. Repeat until you have 3 to 5 streams running. No job is 100% safe. Multiple income streams buy freedom and security. I'm not being paranoid, I'm being strategic. One stream breaks, my life doesn't break with it. Multiple income streams create security, but there's one final thing that determines whether you're truly free or just a highly paid employee trapped in a very comfortable prison. Number 8. The ultimate freedom. Here's the final thing millionaires never do, and it defines whether you're actually free or just well-paid and trapped. Most people trade time for money their entire lives. Work an hour, get paid for that hour. Stop working, money stops. Even high earners are stuck in this trap. Doctor making $500,000 annually? Still trading time. Can't scale beyond 60 hours weekly. Can't take 6 months off without an income. When they retire, income stops completely. They're highly compensated employees, not actually wealthy. Beautiful prison with great pay, but still a prison. Real millionaires decouple time from income completely. They build assets and systems that generate money without their active involvement. Passive income. Rental properties generating rent 24/7, investment dividends arriving quarterly, businesses run by managers, digital products selling automatically, royalties from past work. Money flows in while they sleep, vacation, spend time with family, or do absolutely nothing. Work becomes optional, not mandatory. That's the definition of actual freedom. Warren Buffett makes billions from investments while sleeping. Real estate investors collect rent whether they work or not. Authors earn royalties decades after writing. Proverbs describes this. Even while sleeping, their wealth increases. Jewish principle. Money should multiply on its own, not require your constant labor. Here's a story that shows the difference. Two professionals making good money. First, a doctor earning $400,000 annually, working 60 hours weekly. Impressive income, but cannot stop working without income, stopping immediately. Tied to that schedule forever. Retirement means income drops to zero. Second, a real estate investor earning $200,000 annually from rental properties, working maybe 5 hours weekly, managing properties. Half the income, but 20 times the freedom. The doctor is a high-paid employee. The investor is actually free. One trades time forever. One bought freedom years ago. Here's the brutal truth. You can only work so many hours. Even at $500 per hour, you're capped by time. Passive income has no limit. Wealthy people make money 24/7 from assets that work continuously. Their income grows while they sleep. Your income requires you to be awake and working. Who's actually winning? Calculate what percentage of your income is truly passive, meaning it continues if you stop working tomorrow. For most people, 0%. Set a goal. Build passive income to eventually cover all expenses. That's complete financial freedom. Start with dividend stocks, rental property, business systems that run without you, and digital products that sell automatically. Stop getting paid for hours worked. Start getting paid for value created and systems built. I want money working for me while I sleep. That's not lazy. That's freedom. That's wealth. That's the whole point. Which of these 8 things hit you hardest? Comment the number 18, because what I'm about to tell you is something most people regret their entire lives, not understanding sooner. Remember those 2 millionaires? One in the Tesla, stressed, working 70 hours weekly. One in the old Honda, calm, hasn't worked full-time in years. Same net worth. Completely different lives. The difference? These 8 things. Never chase status. Never focus only on income. Never consume before creating. Never avoid money conversations. Never treat taxes like punishment. Never avoid good debt. Never rely on one income stream. Never trade time for money forever. Millionaires don't work harder. They work smarter by understanding how money actually works. They diversify income, use taxes strategically, leverage good debt, focus on net worth, and let money work for them. Avoiding these 8 things doesn't make you look like a millionaire. It makes you become one. This week, pick one thing. Stop doing it, or start doing what millionaires do instead. Which surprised you most? Comment 18. Hit subscribe, because next week, I'm revealing what millionaires do in their first waking hour that sets up their entire day for wealth. Looking like a millionaire is expensive. Being a millionaire is strategic. Fake millionaires perform wealth. Real millionaires build systems. Same word, different world, different life.